Inside this video topic, we'll discuss a very interesting concept and that is WordPress basic authentication. Let's go back to browser. So as we had seen inside last video that whenever if I try to fetch all the posts from WordPress, so by default it will only allow whose post status is equal to published state. But let's say that I want to get all the posts including draft and trash, so how it can be possible? So as I told, like we have to go with authentication. So here, first thing first, we'll implement the concept of basic authentication and later on inside this course, also we'll see the concept of JWT authentication. So what is basic authentication? How to install? What is the pattern to use inside API calls? All these concepts we'll discuss inside this video topic. Before going further, I only request you to please hit the like button to give us a thumbs up to this interesting course and please do subscribe so that I will be creating such type of amazing and interesting courses for you. Next after this, what I will do, so first I will go into a WordPress setup. Let's log in into admin panel. So username, password, hit login button. So successfully, I'm logged in into admin panel. So we have to install a basic authentication plugin. So what I will do, I will go here and search for, let's say basic auth WP plugin, hit enter. And now we can see that here we have several options like to install basic authentication plugin inside WordPress. So I will recommend this plugin from a GitHub repository. Let's click on this. And here we have github.com/WP API/basic auth. Now the same file basic auth.php, I have just copied this file and moved to my GitHub repository. So github.com/OWT hub, click on repositories. And now we can see that inside this repository, here we have a folder called basic auth WP plugin. Let's click into it. Now the same file, what we had seen here, I have just copied and moved here into my GitHub repository. Now let's open this file. Now here we have the complete plugin structure. So I will just copy the whole code, click on this copy icon. Once copied, let's go to our WordPress setup code. This is the project editor of WordPress setup. Then I will go into WP content, plugins, and inside this plugins folder, let's create a plugin folder and I will call it as WP-basic-auth. Then I will go into this plugin folder. Let's create our plugin main file. So wp-basic-auth.php. Now I will go into this .php file and just paste all those code what we have copied from GitHub repository. Save these changes. Then I will go to our WordPress setup, click on plugins, install plugins. And now here we can see that JSON basic authentication. So only we have to click on this activate link, just click into it. Now successfully plugin is now activated. Now after this also we have to understand that okay, if we have the basic authentication plugin inside WordPress, now the question is how to use this authentication inside API calls. So let's go inside any of the editors. So for example, this WordPress setup, let's open a new tab. So if suppose we have basic authentication inside plugin, so simply while calling any AJAX request, simply we have to send a header like inside headers object, we have to send like authorization. This will be our header key and inside value we have to pass basic. Remember it's a keyword, so basic concatenate with the value that is base64 encoded like B2A, a JavaScript function, and inside here we have to pass username and password. So this username and password is of WordPress admin panel. So base64 encoded value of this string concatenate with basic keyword. So this value we have to send inside header, inside authorization key. So if someone asks that what is the value of this like base64 encoded, so simply I'll go here. For example, for this WordPress setup, as we know that username and password is admin. So I'll go into console tab and simply B2A and here admin is the username, colon, admin is the password. So if I hit enter, now you can see that this is the base64 encoded value of the combination of username and password. So what to do? Let's go inside our React.js application. Then I will go into src folder, components folder. I will open postlist.jsx file. Now inside this component file, here we have called our API call. So inside headers, what I will do, let's add one more header and I will call it as authorization. Then after the keyword called basic concatenate with B2A and here the combination of username and password. So it's admin and admin. Save these changes. Now if I go to our output screen, let's reload. Now we can see that we don't have any error, but we can see that again we are getting only two posts right here inside this tabular format. So if I go into this WordPress setup, let's click on this post. So we can see that here we have three posts, like two posts in published mode, and also here we have posts in draft mode. So how to get all these posts? So here to understand this concept, if I go and open the JSON documentation, hit enter, and if I go to the URL, not here, WP V2 only. Now, if I go and search for WP V2 post, so here we can see that inside this WP V2 post, actually we are hitting this API call using get request type. So I will go to this endpoints array inside this method equals to get. We can see that also we have the number of parameters what we can use as a query string parameter while hitting our API. So if I go into this arguments object, let's scroll a bit. So we can see that here it is containing a key called status. So we can see by default the value of this status is equal to publish. So that's why we are getting only the post whose status is equals to publish. But if we want to get like the post is in draft mode, trash mode, so we can see that here we have the multiple options according to those status. We can get all those posts. Let's go to our editor. Now here inside this URL, inside this API URL, let's pass question mark query string parameter. I will pass status. Now let's say that I want to get all the posts whose status is in publish mode. Along with also we want the post whose status is in draft mode and also is in trash mode. So simply we can see that here we have the API URL question mark which indicates that now we have to include some query string parameters. So status is a key and the value is equals to publish, draft and trash. If I save these changes, let's go back to browser. If I reload, and now you can see that automatically it has returned number of values equals to 4. So if I go to the WordPress setup, now we can see that here we have inside this tabular format, 3 post is there, but also we have the post inside this trash. It means now overall we are getting all those data, all those posts from this WordPress installation setup. So if I go to a headless application, and now we can see that inside this post tabular format, now this time we are getting all those posts what we have inside of WordPress setup. As you can see that this post is in draft mode, this post is in trash mode, and these two posts are in published mode. Now let's say that also according to this status value, also I want to change the color of this button. How to do? Let's go here inside of application. If I scroll, so we can see that inside this TD, here we have button, and inside this button, here we have the status value. So what I will do is simply I will go and first create a function, let's say for status, post status, const, let's say get status button, and inside this simply I will pass the button status, and this function is going to return, let's say if status is equals to draft. So in that case, what I will do, first I will go and let's cut this button from here. Then I will go into this if block. Let's paste here. So in this case, like if we have the draft, so in that case, I want something orange color of button. And instead of single post, this is only status. In the next, if I go, let's say else if, now if the status, let's say trash here, so in that case, I want, let's say in red color. And finally, if the post status is in publish mode, so in that case, I want this button in green color. Now simply let's copy this function name, scroll here, and inside this td simply curly pairs and the function, and this function is taking a status value, so simply single post dot status. Save these changes. If I go, and now you can see that according to the status value, now here we have the different colors of all these button. This is draft, this is trash, and these are in published mode. Now in the next video, we'll discuss the concept that here we are getting the category ID, but instead of category ID, I want to get the category name. For example, if I go click on categories like inside post, categories submenu, and now we can see that this category like laptop 1 uncategorized. So laptop is like category 3. So in place of 3, I want something called laptop, and in place of 1, I want something called uncategorized. So how to actually display or show the category name in place of category ID? This interesting concept we'll discuss inside our next video. So friends, I hope this video was interesting and informative. So please give us a thumbs up to like this video, subscribe to this channel. Now let's meet to our next amazing video. So for this video session guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.